Joining me now on the phone is Don Van Nieuwenhuise. He's the Director of Geoscience and Petroleum at the University of Houston. He knows a ton about oil. And Don, I want to start with talking about these pressure readings, because going into these well tests, the government had repeatedly said we're looking for somewhere in the neighborhood of 8,000 to 9,000 PSI. But over the past few days, they seem okay with the slightly lower pressure reading. What do you make of that?
Well, the pressure reading that they're getting means one of two things. The first is there could be natural depletion in the reservoir itself that they're producing. Whenever we draw pressure down or produce oil from a reservoir, it draws down the pressure, and that's a natural process that goes on. And because this well has been flowing for a long period of time, what you see from that is that some of the pressure gets drawn down, and then it takes a while for the pressure to then rebuild back up, because the pressure that's maintained in a well comes from long distances away from the wellbore, and it takes a while for the fluids to migrate through that reservoir and build the pressure back up, and that's why it's building back up slowly. That's a good indication. The other possibility of that pressure is that there is a leak in the subsurface somewhere in the vicinity just below the 18-inch the 18-inch liner that they have in the well, and that's around 89, 90 feet, somewhere around 8,990 feet, and in the well, and that's associated with the pressure. That's the pressure that you would see if there was a leak about that depth.
Do you think there's a leak?
If there was a leak, they should be able to see it in seismic. One reason for extending the test is to allow that leak to show itself better and in the seismic, and that may be why they've left the cap on as long as they have and not tried the static kill yet, just to see if they could actually find if there is a leak and see that evidence show itself, because it's very important before they do the kill procedure that they find out where there is a leak, if there happens to be a leak. But right now they haven't seen any evidence that there's actually a leak.
Well, we had Matt Simmons on yesterday, and I know you're skeptical of his claim that there is a separate leak on the seafloor some miles away from this, but he also made the claim, and maybe we should put this into layman's language, that the casing, essentially what surrounds the drill pipe and what surrounds that in the hole, is damaged. What kind of an issue would that present if there really were massive casing problems significantly down the wellbore?
Well, most of the times when you have a subsurface leak, the pressure at these greater depths in the well, 5,000 to 6,000 feet below the surface of the earth, the pressure from the rocks is enough to contain that pressure. So usually that pressure will migrate or move into a rock unit that's sandy and start filling up the pores in that, and it'll displace water. Sometimes we can get leaks that will come up the annulus between the pipe and the rocks, and that's sort of like a washout situation, and that can be very dangerous. We haven't seen any clear evidence of that. Now, when you have relatively tight seals, the first thing that you will see before oil can move through those seals is you will see gas. We've seen very, very little gas coming up the side of the wellbore. So if there is a leak, the current seals in the rocks themselves are actually holding the oil back, and they're letting a very, 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 very small amount of gas come out. And so right now it doesn't appear to be serious at all.
Okay. All right, Don, I'm going to have to stop you there. Obviously, we're going to watch to see if they can move ahead with this static kill procedure, pumping mud down if they get approval from the federal government. Don Van Nieuwenhuise from the University of Houston, thank you very much.